All right, guys, we're going to continue on with Chapter 3, Lesson 2. We're on page 106. We're going to be reading page 106 and 107 today, and then you're going to be completing your notes for those pages. So go ahead and turn to page 106. All right, we're going to read about checks and balances today. So yesterday we read about the 3 branches of government and what they were and what their responsibilities are. So we want to make sure that these governments, one person doesn't have more power than the other, because it's really not fair if one person has more power than the other. If we think about a classroom, right? It wouldn't be fair that one person gets to do something and then someone else doesn't get to do something else. It's not fair. So we want to make sure that there are checks and balances that are in place. And we're going to talk about this, okay? What checks and balances are. So checks and balances. Why did the writers of the Constitution decide to separate the government into 3 branches? They thought that the government could become too strong and threaten people's rights, especially if one part of the government grew much stronger than the other part. To prevent this from happening, they came up with a system of checks and balances. By dividing the government into 3 branches, the power was balanced. In addition, each part could check or limit the action of the other 2 parts. These checks would keep any one branch of government from gaining too much control. The checks and balances work for each branch of government. Congress, the legislative branch, has to pass all laws. Without the power to make laws, the president cannot act like a king. So let's take a look at this right here on the bottom. I want to take a look at this chart. Okay, hopefully I can get it to work. Okay, take a look at this chart right here on the bottom of your book. It talks about checks and balances. So the executive branch, if you follow those arrows as to where the executive branch can go, so the executive branch, the White House, which is also the president, can appoint those justices, right? But the Supreme Court, the Senate, which is part of our legislative branch, can approve or reject those justices. Okay, so if we're looking at here, they can approve those justices, but they can also approve or reject any judges or justices that they might have. The judicial branch makes all the rules, right? They make all the rules and all the laws according to the Constitution. They can rule that a law is not constitutional and reject it and say, nope, sorry, not working. And then that legislative branch has to come up with another law. At the same time, they can rule that the president's acts are unconstitutional. So if the president makes a decision, the judicial branch can say, nope, not going to happen. We can't do this. It's against the Constitution for us to make those laws, or for them to make a decision. If we look at the legislative branch, so let's start over. The executive branch can appoint justices, and they can also reject and veto any laws that are passed by Congress. So if the president doesn't agree with a law, they can always say, nope, we're not doing it. I don't like that idea. I don't like that law. Let's pick something else. The judicial branch over here, this red circle, it can decide that whatever the president decides to put into law or into action, any laws that they decide to put into action, they can say, nope, sorry, unconstitutional, against our Constitution, not going to happen. And then they can also rule that laws are unconstitutional. So any laws that are created by the legislative branch, they can say, nope, unconstitutional. So they check to see if all those laws are against our Constitution or for our Constitution or supported by our Constitution. The legislative branch right here, they can reject or approve judges, such as our 9 Supreme Court justices, or they can cancel or override any president's veto. So if the president says, absolutely not, I don't think so, they can say, yes, we want to do this anyway. The legislative branch could say, yes, we want to do this anyway, but that judicial branch is there to say if it's constitutional or not. So make sure you take a look at that at this diagram right here, because it kind of helps you understand what they do and who can override someone else, and it's not just the one person that can that rules the world, right? So that president is not the ruler and the king. They have to be passed on. Other people have to agree on what they are posing. So someone else has to kind of agree with you. All right, on to page 107. However, laws that are passed by Congress cannot go against the Constitution. If they do, the judicial branch can declare that the law is unconstitutional. The judicial branch can also declare the president's orders unconstitutional. The president has the right to veto or reject laws that Congress passes. In turn, Congress can override or cancel out the veto if 2/3 of the member votes for the law. So if the Congress votes and they think it's a good law, 2/3 of that Congress need to vote it into place. And they can say, nope, sorry, President of the United States, I agree with this law, and this is what we're going to be doing, because we represent the entire United States. Although the president can pick cabinet members and federal justices, which includes justices for the Supreme Court, the Senate must approve the president's appointments. This provides a check against the president's power. So again, those cabinet members are chosen by the president, but they need to be approved. The Senate is going to be there saying, okay, we approve this person and this person, but not this person. There are even checks and balances inside a single branch of government. You can see them in the way that a law is approved. Before Congress sends a law to be signed by the president, both the House of Representatives and the Senate must vote and approve that law. All these checks and balances are known as separation of power. For more than 200 years, the system has served us well. So you want to do this reading check on the bottom here. Explain how Congress can check or limit the power of the president. And that ends this section of, or this part of lesson 2. So go to your notes pages, reread the section, and then fill out those notes pages, okay?